What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Malt Mondays. Now, I know I haven't made a video in a really long time, and I feel really bad about that because there were a couple of you guys that asked me to review specific whiskeys that I never got around to. Essentially, what ended up happening was I graduated school, I got a job, I moved. So all those things together threw me out of whack just long enough that I totally got out of the rhythm of making videos each week. And it's just one of those things that setting up a new space, as you can see, takes a little while. This is kind of the first run in this space. We'll see how it works out. Tweaking the lighting and everything still. But that being said, I wanted to go ahead and make a video, get it out, start making videos again, even though I don't quite have everything set up the way I want, because I need to get back into it, or I'm afraid I won't, again. So today we're going to be looking at the Suntory Toki. So probably like 3 or 4 years ago, you could walk into pretty much any liquor store and buy Hibiki 12-year-old. And the older expressions were a little bit harder to find, but Japanese whiskey in general was pretty commonplace. I mean, it didn't have its surge in popularity, so there may not have been as much of a demand for it, so liquor stores may not have carried it from that sense. But if you wanted a bottle, you could pretty much find one. The last few years, though, ever since Yamazaki won Jim Murray's award, it's been ridiculous. And because of that, they've had to come out with cheaper and younger expressions. So the Hibiki 12-year-old, Hibiki 17, Hibiki 12, those were Suntory's blends that they offered. And the 12 is one of my very favorite whiskeys. But the 12 is discontinued, hopefully for a limited time. Hopefully it'll be back. They replaced it with Hibiki Harmony. I've reviewed both those whiskeys on my channel, so check that out. But now they have the Suntory Toki. So what the Toki is an even younger and more entry-level expression. The Harmony starts at about $70. So the Hibiki Harmony is already in premium whiskey territory. And a lot of people want to try Japanese whiskey, but they don't know if they like it enough to drop that much money on it. So I'm really glad to see that Hibiki has come out with the Toki, because at $40, this is very reasonably priced. We're at least getting 43% ABV, which is really nice. I don't know anything about coloring. I would guess that there is coloring added, but I personally haven't seen anything from Suntory that states whether their whiskeys are colored or not, and they don't say on the label. So if you know, please let me know, because that's something I've looked for and I wasn't able to find, but I haven't looked in a while, so maybe they have that in their material now. But I really like the boxy little bottle that this comes in. It's kind of cool. It's very easy to hold, and it has a nice screw top, which is more common with Japanese whiskeys. A lot of them actually do have screw tops as opposed to corks, simply because corks will break. So even a lot of very premium Japanese whiskeys will have screw tops. In the States, that kind of feels cheap, but it's not necessarily, because it is technically better. It won't break and go bad on you or crumble into your whiskey. Now, as far as coloring goes, again, I'm personally of the opinion that Suntory, probably doesn't use much at all, simply because their whiskeys are very, very light. I mean, this is just like lighter than straw. It's almost just like a really, really light lemon water kind of color. So on the nose, ooh, it definitely has the florality that I associate with Suntory's blends. Definitely a lot of light aromas. Nothing really jumps out. It's not super strong. It's just light, delicate. A little bit of honey and apple. It actually smells really nice. Now, I do get a little bit of ethanol, just a hint. So, I mean, that's to be expected at $40 though. This kind of reminds me of a Highland Park Magnus if it didn't have any peat in it. It's kind of draws that to memory. I'm not sure why. But just kind of the light floral, that heathery kind of aroma that Highland Parks have. This kind of has a little bit of that kind of thing going on. So let's see how it tastes. So right away there is a bit of a burn. It's definitely a little bit rough around the edges for sure. Now, the fact that this is bottled at 43% and it's only $40, so it's probably pretty young whiskey, I'm going to forgive the fact that it is a little bit harsh. But that being said, the flavors are really on point. You get a little bit of that honey coming back, a touch of vanilla. The ethanol is actually on the finish. The ethanol kind of becomes a peppermint sort of flavor, which I really enjoy. Now this sits at $40, so compared with some of the other entry-level Japanese whiskeys like the EY Tradition, which I think the EY Tradition is more expensive. The regular one, though, I believe is about $40 around here. And the Akashis, I kind of prefer this one. I just kind of like the flavors that they have going on a little bit better. But again, it's not going to be a super smooth, really impressive Japanese whiskey. This is more of a really light Speyside Glenfiddich 12-year-old style of Japanese whiskey. So if you like the Glenmorangie 10 original, if you like Glenfiddich 12-year-old, those light apple and pear flavors in Scotch, just the lighter aromas, the more delicate whiskeys in general, I think this is worth trying because I was, when I first tried it, I was quite impressed with it for the price point. It was better than I expected it to be. I overall, I think it's a good bargain buy, and it's a great way to try Japanese whiskey. I just don't know if it has really any of the flavors that I associate specifically with Japanese whiskey. And when I say that, I mean the Mizunara, the oak, the plummy kind of flavors that some of the hibikis get because they've been aged in those plum wine casks. The Japanese Mizunara oak has a slightly different flavor. The Nika whiskeys have kind of a tobacco-y, herbal flavor that is just a little bit different. And this doesn't really have any of that. So this is definitely a more generic Japanese whiskey, but that's not to say it's not good. And I believe if you look at like their marketing and even just the whiskey culture in Japan, heavily favors cocktails and whiskey highballs, stuff like that, where I think this fits perfectly. It would be right at home in that kind of a scenario. So on its own, neat. It's a little bit of hit or miss. It's not going to impress you a lot, but I don't think you're going to be disappointed. But definitely try it in a cocktail as well, because it's affordable enough you can do that. And my understanding is Suntory kind of designed it for that. So let me know what you think of the Suntory Toki down in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. And please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And I want to get right back on providing regular content for you guys. I've got my buddy Brandon, who, if you watched my live stream from the Fluid Lounge whiskey tasting like 6 months ago or 8 months ago, he was in that video with me. He's going to be coming in doing some cigar pairings at some point. He's more of a cigar aficionado. I'm just I enjoy them, but I don't know that much about them. So he's going to come in. I'm going to give him some samples of some very common, easy to find scotches that I think have a diversity of flavor and I'm going to have him pair cigars to those and do a video or a couple of videos on that for you guys, because I've had a few people ask about that in the comments, cigar whiskey pairings, and I think he might be a little more qualified than I am to talk about the cigar aspect of that subject. So stay tuned. I'll be back next week with another video. Thanks for watching.